Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. That was quite an eye-opener, and we're hearing talk about plastic bag taxes in the District of Columbia and in Maryland. We're hearing about union busting, about payback, give back by unions. We don't want to hear any of that. We want to hear about Wall Street sales tax, securities transfer tax, financial turnover tax, oligarch tax, Tobin tax. That is the beginning of the solution to this entire question, and it is the only way to get boxcar revenue into state and local and municipal county budgets, because it represents the largest single flow of so-called wealth in this entire economy, 4 quadrillion as turnover, right? That's certainly true. The quadrillions of turnover are really anybody's guess. I say 1.5 quadrillion of derivatives. That means total in existence, right, rather than the buying and selling thereof, a slight differentiation. But the tax would be on the quadrillion. So it sounds like if it's really 4 quadrillion of turnover, that's 40 trillion of revenue, 20 trillion for the federal government and 20 trillion for the states. We can keep Social Security, keep Medicare, keep Medicaid, keep your unemployment benefits, fight Wall Street. You can also keep your police department, your fire department, your teachers, your sanitation people. You can keep your nurses and your hospital personnel. You can keep your Department of Motor Vehicles to make sure drunks don't drive. Just tax Wall Street, fight Wall Street. And, of course, people say, let's have a state bank. Yeah, a state bank, nice little thing to do if you've got nothing else to do. But we have a hell of a lot else to do. It's time to tax the money where the money is. A millionaire surtax is a great idea. That's higher on the list. But even there, the amount of money available as a millionaire surtax is far less than this huge flow of cash, of loot, swag, tail that we've got to dip into. And again, these Wall Street guys are laughing because the population are fighting among themselves. Wall Street laughs all the way to the bank. We'll have Daniel Abramson back to get more reports from people. You guys in New York State, time to get going. Now let's just go through now the immediate news of today. Syria. Okay. Syria. Today is Dignity Day in Syria. Today in Syria we have Dignity Day, Dignity Square, and the Dignity Revolution. Now, if you go to a youth freak, a youth activist, if you say to them, what do you think of dignity? They'll say to you, dignity? What's dignity? Dignity is not a slogan of teeny boppers and 20-somethings. They don't think about dignity. Dignity comes from the writings of Zbigniew Brzezinski. Therefore, these characters in Syria, my diagnosis is this is the Muslim Brotherhood once again. This is the Ikhwan. This is the upper crust of Arab society. Doctors, lawyers, professors, but not in a good way, not your proletarian American doctor who works in a large practice or a hospital, but this is like a local oligarch, basically, in these poorer societies. To be a doctor, a lawyer, a professor, an oligarch, a reactionary, a plutocrat, that's the Muslim Brotherhood. So they don't like the Assad dynasty. All right, lots not to like in the Assad dynasty. But before we rush to give power to the Muslim Brotherhood, what's the program, guys? And it looks like it's going to be the fragmentation of Syria, right? The carving out of the Alawites, the carving out of the Kurds, carving, because they're obviously on this Zbigniew Brzezinski playbook line. Now, the news we have is armed gangs have appeared as democracy protesters. We have a larger group of democracy protesters, and then within that, an armed gang. Usually in the West, it's an anarchist group. In this case, it's guys with Kalashnikovs. And they have now started shooting at the Syrian security forces. We've just had a very interesting clash between the spokeswoman of the Syrian government and a particularly venomous British imperialist harpy here on Al Jazeera. out of which emerges clearly that there are armed gangs, the Muslim Brotherhood, attempting to foment an armed revolution in the city of Dara, D-A-R-A-A. D-E-R-A, transliteration problem again. This is down by the Jordanian border. What can we say? That the heavy U.S. presence in Jordan has allowed some stuff to get bootlegged across that border and into Dara. I don't know whether Dara is richer or poorer than the rest of Syria. I'm guessing it's richer, but I don't know. The question then is, what are their issues? Turns out one of the big issues in Dara is they say, we want to have it easier to buy and sell land here in the border area. Apparently Syria has special laws concerning the border area with Jordan, and therefore people say, we want to make it easier to buy and sell land. Does that mean this is a revolt fomented by landowners, by latifundists? We don't know. We know the usual chorus of human rights characters, foundation-funded, NED, NGO types coming in. Why attack Syria? Well, from the imperialist point of view, if you can overthrow the Assad government in Syria, here's what you get. You have destroyed a key ally of Iran. You have maybe destroyed the key ally of Iran. You have cut Hezbollah loose. You have isolated Hezbollah. You've deprived Hezbollah of their strategic depth. You have a good chance of kicking the Russians out of the Tartus naval base, and you've created another regime of the Muslim Brotherhood, which, again, it is clear that there is an all-encompassing alliance. The CIA and the Ikhwan, the CIA and the Muslim Brotherhood are together in the struggle. So that's, I think, the story of Syria. The key weakness of this is, we've seen this in Syria before. In 1982, there was one city that rebelled against Hafez Assad. He flattened the city. These were not humanitarian methods, but effective, right? That basically kept the Muslim Brotherhood down for another 30 years. As long as it's just Dara, and that seems to be it, this is going nowhere. Obviously, there are other cities, right? Damascus, nothing much happening there. Latakia, they say a couple of hundred. If Al Jazeera says hundreds or thousands, we know it's tens and hundreds or something along these lines. Now, in Yemen, we can see the way this all works. In Yemen, we have the attempted coup d'etat of General Mohsen. The idea, of course, is that the people in the square are window dressing. The people in the square are props, they're walk-ons, they're extras. They simply appear there to make the coup plausible and to allow it to be said, well, it's the democratic golden youth. What you notice is the countries where the CIA has been successful in subverting the majority of the top generals, like Tunisia and Egypt with Tantawi and Annan, that's where the golden youth in the square succeed. But in the countries where the CIA has not succeeded completely in subverting and suborning the entire officer corps, that's where it doesn't work, because it's not based on the public square. Those are street demonstrations. Street demonstrations are not enough for a serious struggle for power. You can't seize power based on street demonstrations alone. You've got to reach into the ruling class, the top officials of the government, and the top generals of the military. That's what they were able to do in Tunisia and Egypt. In Yemen, we have General Mohsen and a couple of top officials saying Saleh must go, but then the defense minister says no, he should stay. Saleh's line is, what am I supposed to do? Abandon power to a mob, to a faceless, nameless crew? Again, the imperialist plan for Yemen is carve it into two parts, North Yemen, South Yemen, two squabbling petty states. That's the goal. Back in a minute.